Hey Jaden, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. And so we're mostly going to be talking about play, chapter 8, since that was the question that you had starred. But I'll kind of reference some other things as we talk through the video as well. Okay, so the first thing that I looked for in this formal body paragraph was a clear topic sentence that answers the question and sort of previews what's to come in the paragraph. I thought you always had that topic sentence, Jaden, but a lot of times it didn't really answer the question. So for example, like in this one, compare and contrast how each of these areas contribute to a playful mindset. You were just kind of like, they all contribute, right? So don't go into too much detail, but maybe give me a little bit of a preview of what these things are, and maybe then you can get into more in-depth discussion of how they're different and how they contribute to that mindset. Okay, so just maybe work on answering that prompt a little bit more. Going down to your concluding sentence, I thought kind of a similar issue. I wished it had done a little bit more, but I did think you expanded a little bit on this one to say they at least are different but have some similarities. So that one was maybe a little bit better. I think in the concluding sentence, really getting to maybe that importance or significance, like why are games, humor, and joyfulness important, that would have been really great. So that's a possible revision you could make. The next thing I looked at was evidence, and I thought for the most part you picked pretty good evidence. I would say in this paragraph, there were a couple paragraphs I sort of looked at, but in this one in particular, I think, like you mentioned, humor in this quote and then laughter in this quote. I almost wish you'd done games or something totally different for a quote just to be able to develop the paragraph a little bit more. But I did think especially this quote was a good selection of what humor can do. Your embedding is looking really good on evidence, so that's kind of how you're getting the quotes into your own writing. This one flows really, really nicely. Like Fabio states, humor reduces hostility, deflects criticism, blah, blah, blah. So that was really well done. The only reason I didn't give you a 10 on that part was down here, like Dr. Kataria puts it, laughing people are more creative people. So probably uncapitalize that like you did up here so that it sort of reads as one sentence, right? So just some kind of little detail work there. Okay, so on your commentary, Jaden, I think you're on the right track of not just summarizing the quote, which is really good, but I did wish some pieces of your commentary would tie back to the question just a little more cleanly. So like in this one, you say basically laughter or laughing people are more creative and they're also more productive. And so you kind of just say without productivity, nothing would get done, and creative thought would go to waste, which is true, but tie that back to this comparison contrast thing. What does that have to do with games, humor, and joyful? Where does that fit into the differences of those? So I think just making that connection a little bit clearer. The next thing I looked at was conventions and in-text citations. So conventions, I think obviously you're doing fine on proofreading for the most part. Just watch these little personal pronouns like you. Sometimes that's just a little too informal. And in-text citations, we do want those usually to be at the end of the sentence, not the end of the quote, just because it interrupts it a little bit less. So just kind of some little details there. And I thought your R-directed activities looked really good as well, Jaden. I was trying to find one, but now... Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, I was going to talk about your empathy test. I thought these were sort of interesting to take, and I liked that you talked about sort of the flaw in the social intelligence one, because obviously the site tells you that, but I definitely got hung up on that too, that there's sort of an inherent disadvantage, and it made me wonder if there's other tests out there that maybe, are a little bit more broad and would have a more accurate result for more people. So anyway, just something I was kind of interested to read and just wanted to give you a little feedback.